Yes, we are here. We are here live. We're coming on late tonight. Sorry about that. Supposed to come on at 8 o'clock. But of course, as you know, been busy. And how's everybody doing? Hit that thumbs up button. Hit that like button. Like, share, and subscribe. Cash app is there. $ lawyer Henderson 40. Hit that thumbs up button, hit that like button, like, share, subscribe. The website is also there. No phone calls today. We're not taking phone calls. This is our video live essay. And man, come on in to the chat, man. Come on in. Um, while y'all doing that, let me talk to y'all before we get into the subject here, man. They took one of my videos down. ScrewTube took one of my videos down, and all I was saying is that the doctor, the French doctor, he basically were calling out the COVID vaccine stuff. And ScrewTube said, man, you don't be making no video about any scientist that is challenging the vaccine. And they said, if you do that again, we're going to flag your account. They took the video down. So now we have to get a Patreon account too. And we're going to also upload videos about the vaccine on other channels. So ScrewTube thinking there, plus we're going to do press releases on this fight, if you will, in the vaccine, about the COVID vaccine and stuff. So ScrewTube is not really powerful like you think they are to take our video down just because we're giving a critical analysis. Anytime that white people start to basically tell you, oh, you can't, talk about this or talk about that, or they try to get everybody to take a vaccine or take any kind of medicine. Anytime that happens, then you know that there is a problem. There's an issue there, right? There's something going on that you have to question. You see, the white supremacists, they're getting so desperate. They basically is losing their power. They're upset with black people. And it is the Asian folks who are actually challenging white people, not black folks. Black people, they're still walking around here trying to figure out how they're going to get their phone bills paid. But it's actually Asians who are actually challenging white people. They were actually in America, with businesses, along with these PPP loans. Remember, look, they gave a lot of Asian businesses PPP loans. They were basically more qualified to get the loans instead of black people and Hispanics. So we got to really look at this as being problematic, man. We got to look at this. So the Asians are also in their own countries competing, because every time an Asian person or anybody goes to work, remember, when you go to work, you're basically contributing to the economic system. You understand? So within that system, of course, you basically, you're helping to help with the society and its economic conditions. You're helping to challenge globally other countries, other people in other nations. So therefore, you become a person that is competing in society or in the world. So black people don't have that. We're not competing, and we're not really doing anything that is oppressing, or where we have never oppressed anybody. So we basically is like the group that everybody picks on. You understand? So I wanted to talk about a little bit about why black people wait a long time to point out racism and discrimination. Why they basically don't like talking about racism. That's what we want to talk about today. We're going to talk about that in a fashion of understanding why we hate to talk about race and why we don't like to confront white people sometimes on racism. And we can go in and talk about critical race theory, and we can go in talking about other things. And hit that thumbs up button, like, share, and subscribe. And you can chat live with me. We're not taking any calls right now. We're basically the phone system. We're not taking calls. We're listening to you. Just have to listen. You can chat in the chat right now. But yeah, man, ScrewTube took out my video. They said if I talk anything about, they gave me one of them community forms, disclaimer forms. Emails, and they said if you talk anything about what any scientist or anything bad about the COVID-19, what they're calling the COVID-19 misinformation policy, which is a violation of our constitutional rights anyway, and they can be sued. That's why there's a lot of lawsuits against the science community. The science community have a lot of lawsuits based upon COVID, and the government has been sued as well, because they got a lot of policies where you can't talk about COVID-19 and how it's killed somebody, made people faint. You can't say anything derogatory about COVID, and if you do, then you basically will get your video taken down, or they would try to find some way to flag you and get you out there. But that doesn't mean that we don't have other press. You understand? That doesn't mean that we don't have other videos that we can upload. So what we're doing now is that we're going to continue to talk and speak out against COVID. And matter of fact, when I get my website movie, the actual movie that this white scientist that she put together talking about COVID-19, the pandemic. We're going to also, in addition to that, because ScrewTube has been basically trying to talk about that you have community guidelines. Anytime you talk about a person's health, you're not basically violating anybody's guidelines. Anytime that somebody just tell you you got to take medication or you got to take a vaccine, you're not in violation of anything. It's your constitutional right and your right to know what is going in your body. Nobody cannot force you to do anything that you don't want you to do. And that's why these lawsuits are coming. Okay, let's be very clear about that. You see, black folks got a habit, we're out here fighting each other. But if somebody come and say, hey, Negroes, you got to take this vaccine. And if you don't, then you niggers, y'all are not going to be able to get this job. And black folks will go out there and say, okay, I'll take it and stuff like that. See, we got to get off of that. You understand? Yeah, I'm coming on late. Hit that thumbs up button, like, shares, and subscribe. The phone system is down right now. Well, it's not down. I didn't have enough time to hook it up right quick, but we'll get the phone system back on. But I want to hear from you in the chat room. You understand? Now, family, they're on this line about critical race theory. The white supremacists, they are so desperate. They don't even want to have our children talking about racism in the classroom, which we've already said there's no such thing as critical race theory anyway. That's a propaganda tool coming from the white supremacists. Now, the white supremacists they're so desperate that they basically got all kinds of tricks up their sleeves. Now, with this critical race theory that they got talking about, what they're talking about now, man, they're talking about some bullshit stuff that we have not even heard about. But Harvard Law Review did a critical race theory. They did an essay about critical race theory, And the article is called Racial Critiques of Legal Academia. And in the lead of the volume 134, the Harvard Law Review republished 5 classic critical race theory articles from our archives. This is the fourth piece in the series. And this is by Randall L. Kennedy. Professor Kennedy provides the following statement upon republication. I am glad that the editors of the Harvard Law Review believe that racial critiques of legal academia warrants republication. I stand by the key arguments I offered 3 decades ago. A-list, they remain all too pertinent today. The full version of the article may be found. Click on the PDF link here. But what he says here is that in this article, Professor Kennedy analyzed writing that examines the effects of racial differences on the distribution of scholarly influence and prestige in legal academia. He argues that these 3 writings articulate 2 interrelated theses. The first, the exclusion thesis, is that the belief that the intellectual contributions of scholars of color are roughly ignored or undervalued. Now let's stop right there. First of all, you see, white people are heavily on this people of color stuff. They really don't want to just say Black, Asians, Hispanics. They really don't want to say that. They're heavily on this people of color because what that does, it includes everybody. So they don't basically have to confront a specific issue specifically for Black folks. It goes on to write here, though, that the second is the racial distinctiveness thesis, the belief that minority scholars, like all people of color in the United States, have experienced racial oppression. Okay? Now, I want to unpack that because all races or people of color, as he described, has not dealt with racial oppression. You can't say that the Asians had participated in oppression in the United States. You see, everybody wants to use their oppression that white people did in other countries or other races or even white people did to themselves, like that in Germany, where the Jews basically, everything that happened, with the Jewish Holocaust, that didn't happen here in the United States. That happened in Germany. So everybody likes to use certain types of things to put in the face of the United States to undermine our real issue, slavery, which really happened in the United States. They basically want to undermine what really happened. You see, when you have real critical evidence, white people will say, well, that's not what you saw, or that's not what happened. This is what happened. And they like to give you their version of what you saw and what you experienced. You see, you can't do that if you have the evidence, but that's the game that they play. But going on, it says that this experience causes minority scholars to view the world with a different perspective than their white colleagues, and that the different perspective display itself in the valuable ways in the work of minority scholars. Focusing on the 3 exemplary scholars, Kennedy argues that the emergent field of critical race theory has placed on scholarly agendas questions that have heretofore received little or no attention, questions that explore the nature and the consequences of racial conflict within legal academia. At the same time, he argues these writings reveal significant deficiencies, the most general of which is a tendency to evade or suppress complications that renders their conclusions problematic. Stated bluntly, he explains they fail to support persuasively their claims of racial exclusions or their claims that legal academic scholars of color produce a racially a racially distinctive brand of valued scholarship. Kennedy also challenges the argument that the intellectual grounds white academics are entitled to less standing to participate in race relation law discourse than academics of color. Now, that's not true because we've seen where white people participate in everything racist. You could not have a society without them producing certain types of injustice on people of color, as you might say, but specifically on black folks. The second one that Kennedy is describing here is that the argument that on intellectual grounds, the minority status of academics of color should serve as a positive credential for purposes of evaluating their work. Explanations that assign responsibility for the current positions of scholars of color overwhelmingly to influence of prejudice decisions by white academics. He concludes with a discussion of political consideration that impinge upon the writing of his article, focusing particularly on the fears that it would be used against the cause of racial justice. You see, now this is where they're trying to undermine what racism and discrimination is all about by replacing this with so-called critical race theory. Now, family, we know that the white supremacists created race. We know that they're the ones who brought up race and always bring up race in every situation. They have to. And as Dr. John Henry Clark has taught us, nobody knew about race or racism until Europeans came on the scene. The ideal here is that they use race to distinct themselves away from other people. Okay? And so those other people basically are in the category of saying people of color, but nobody has had have been more oppressed than that of black people. You understand? So that's what we're going to start off today talking about, with all of this jargon, with all of these legal babbling that the white supremacists like to do in their articles, and when they write their Harvard Law Review essays and things of that nature, when they write about so-called critical race theory, which is not a term that we could debate because there's no such thing as critical race theory. We have history that slavery had happened in the United States, and if slavery has happened in the United States, you can't have a theory. Okay. It can't be a theory. Hit that thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. You see, because the white supremacists, they're basically would tell us, oh, well, see, you black folks, see, y'all get all the benefits. Y'all can drink from the same water fountain as us. Isn't that what they were saying back in the 1990s? They were saying, oh, y'all can eat in the same restaurants with us. Okay. Even though we don't want to eat in our restaurants. You understand? So they'll come up with certain things. See, now what they're trying to do to us, the children of the civil rights generation, they're trying to tell us now, hey, you black folks, look, we're knocking down monuments. Okay. So it went from saying that, oh, we integrated lunch counters to talking about, look, what we're doing here. We're throwing and we're tossing in the ocean General Robert E. Lee. So they moved from saying that we're integrated and to lunch counters and that you can basically drink from the same water fountain as me, to giving us symbolic gestures. And this is what the civil rights generation, they basically like to look for these types of symbolisms. Remember, we had Ola May there. She was so excited that Jim Crow Joe Biden gave her that pen. That's a symbolic gesture. They told her, hey, make some video, and that video would basically be something that will to get other Negroes to talk about, hey, look what I did. I got to met with the president, and he signed the Juneteenth law. He signed the Juneteenth into being a legal holiday, and he used my pen first. You see, that's what the old civil rights generation looks for. They look for symbolic gestures. See, they have been so beat down that it is not really in their nature to fight no more. They have sold their children to the wolves. You understand? And so now we're saying to hell with symbolic gestures. We're saying to hell with Jim Crow Joe Biden. He's not popular among us. Hell, we were the children that whose father under him start going to jail, whose daughters, whose mothers under him start going to jail because of him. So just because he signed Juneteenth in the law to throw us off of getting our reparations and our tangibles, we're not looking at his symbolic gestures to think that we basically are going to really have some influence. And this is what Black people have to stop doing. And that's the subject of the day. Black people wait so long to talk about confrontation when it comes to race. You wait so long. As I told you yesterday, where the white supremacists blocked my videos, I said that while I was working in these corporations, I did not basically wait a long time, okay, to deal with the racism in those companies. But you get a lot of Black people who basically will literally, they will literally, be ready to commit suicide. And they will basically literally get all tangled up because of losing their jobs, crying and emotional. They just had a Black woman. She was fired from this police force as a dispatcher. She said that during her tenure at the sheriff's department as a dispatcher, she was basically taunted by the white supremacists. These race soldiers was basically tormenting her, talking about you should be used for target practice. They were really tormenting this woman. You understand? So, but we wait so long. Black people wait so long. And the reason why they do this to Black women, moreover, is because Black women basically wants to get along with everybody. Not all, but most of y'all. There are some Black men who likes to get along with these white supremacists too. We'll get into that in a minute. But when y'all are in these jobs, Black women, which they choose y'all over us because they know that they don't like hiring Black men over Black, they'll hire Black women before they'll hire us. And what they'll do is they'll sit there with their little bit of play these racial games and these insults at y'all while y'all at the job. And you wait so long to call it out. You wait so long to confront it. You wait to the last minute where the white supremacist judges and the EEOC and all these people will say, well, why did you wait till you get fired to come to us? You will wait so long to, man, it's cold in there. Hold on. Thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. I had to cut that. My air here is cold. Yeah, y'all wait so long to confront racism. Y'all wait so long to talk about discrimination because Black people want to get along with everybody. Dr. Claude Anderson taught us that he said we don't need integration. He said we need aggregation. In other words, why isn't that money is coming into the Black community? See, we got to look at that. We got to be able to understand why that is. You understand? We as Black people need to start understanding the true nature of about what's being in a segmented labor market means. Being the first to be fired and the last to be hired, we need to start understanding what that means. Discriminating against us in these jobs and calling us names, we need to start confronting that as soon as it's happening. But see, Black folks like to play games with their minds. They like to say that, oh, racism doesn't exist. And if it does, it exists in a vacuum. No, no. Family, we have to start calling out racism as soon as it happens. You see, we cannot, like the bed wenches. See, the bed wenches, they would go in and they would get their little zaddy and they would play these race games with them, and they would basically, he tells them to, get on the ground and act like a slave and all that until stuff gets serious. And then you want to come back to the Black community and say, well, I tried to date Black men, but there was none available and blah, 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 blah. We have to hear all that stuff. You see, we have to start to confront racism as it happens, even if the white supremacists are claiming that they're just playing. You see, when we start to confront racism quickly, then we can deal with it. Now, here's the thing. Family, there was this brother. He went down to Augusta, here in Augusta, Georgia. And I'm going to play the clip because, see, here's the thing that we do. See, this is... Now, I told you on my show, I'm always fair and impartial. I'm not going to just criticize Black women. I'm going to criticize Black men. But this is an example of Black men. Like I told y'all about what y'all be saying in the barbershop. This is an example of what I talk about, what you never do when we talk about these Karens. But let's go ahead and roll that clip. Now, I'm going to give Phil Scott of Africa Diaspora News Channel credit for this. I'm glad he pointed this out. This happened here in Augusta, Georgia. Now, let's watch this.
Going on, beautiful people. I see a lot of people came through on that post. A lot of people had a lot of things to say. A lot of people had a lot of, understanding on what should have happened or what shouldn't happen. But here's a quick update. Just left the Augusta County Sheriff's Office because they arrested me. Yeah, they arrested me. They said that I was guilty of assaulting the lady who hit me, even though they already saw a video that I had every legal right to split her, but I didn't because of
Now, see, that's what we've been talking about. See, they are on code with this. Now, let me tell you, I'll get to the brother in a minute, but they're on code with this. See, the video shows clearly that she attacked him first. She said, "Get that goddamn camera out of my face," See, this is what we've been talking about. These Karens, they will do anything they want to, and then here comes the sheriff's deputy pulling up, and now all of a sudden you're in the back of a police car. See, they're on code right now. You understand? So it's no way that he should have went to jail. It should have been a Karen that went to jail. But see, in Augusta, Georgia, that in those small towns where those county deputies are, like in Augusta, the city of Augusta, Douglasville, who else? Coweta, all of those deep South uh, towns and counties in Georgia, man, that those are places you just don't want to be out that night. It's just like going down there to Texas, where Texas have their those towns where, like Jasper, you just don't want to go out there too. Now, the Karen is based, she was out there being very belligerent. She's the one that was being the aggressor. She was the one that was being the one who was assaulted the brother, right? But he ends up going to jail, as he explained. You see, and after he got out or whatever, before he got out, let's talk about why he got up into her face. You know what I'm saying? Because see, that's one thing they look at. See, once you start getting to their face, then that's when the deputy sheriff is going to say, "Oh well," the police will say, "Well, see, you were the aggressive because you started to record her, or you started getting up into her face and asking her questions." Never try. See, that's what black people have a big problem trying to rationalize with these Karens and these white supremacists and black men who, and as you know, I don't know about this brother, but it seems like he's one of those black dudes who like to date these fat white girls. See, they try to get into a conversation with them. And you never try to get into a conversation to rationalize anything with them, because they're going to use that against you, especially as you saw that woman in that video. Now, you know that woman right there was looking for a black person to have some issues with. And he was the one that basically ended up going to jail for it. They said that since he got into her face, since he was recording her, and then on top of that, they was like, well, you was the aggressor because, see, you was the one who started to try to rationalize. Well, they didn't say rationalize, but you was the one that started talking to her first, But he was trying to reason with the white supremacists, which you don't do. You don't basically try to reason with these people. These people basically have been running the country because of being unreasonable. They have ran the country on injustice. They have ran this country on no justice ever, ignoring our civil rights and our human rights and not giving us our reparations. They have been basically running the country like this for years. So why would it be rational to try to then reason with race soldiers and their daughters or their mothers and sons and Brad and Karen and all these people? What's the purpose of you trying to reason with them? What is it? You understand? And there's other videos where black people try to reason with these Karens, these Brads, and it's like, you can't reason with these folks. Why are you trying? You understand? So he gets arrested basically because he basically tried to reason with the Karens. And you can't do that, you see? But black folks, we wait so long to confront racism. We wait too long to call it out. And even when you understand that the system of white supremacy is there, just because you call it out don't mean that it's complete. You have to start unpacking the issues now. You got to start understanding the truth about what white supremacy is all about. Now, you might say, well, brother, we could talk about racism all day, but see, brother, we our own worst enemy, though. See, this is what we've been talking about. Those Negroes who say that we are our own worst enemy, you see, go look at a video I did about how the white supremacists need to have unhealthy black people in the ghettos. Okay, and you will find that that's the reason then why they're saying, or you are saying, that we are our own worst enemy. Okay, I don't have a problem with you saying it, But you have to understand what the white supremacists have made us. See, they got the white media, like the white media here, CBS 46 News, for instance. They're just constantly talking about black people shooting and killing each other, and Atlanta becoming a violent city, and they're trying to get rid of. Well, Keisha Lance Bottom said, "Well, I'm not going to run for office no more." See, they're trying to turn this city into violence. But as we've been calling out in the New Voices of Black Media, all of a sudden these real hard thug gangsters are getting out of jail, and they're allowing them to, and some of them are able to change their names, but they're getting out of jail and they're just going out shooting random people. And here's the white media saying, "Oh, it's been a deadly shooting. It's been a deadly shooting," and that will give Jim Crow Joe Biden the incentive now that he can start, making and writing crime bill laws, because that's what he has always done. That's his history. You want to talk about a Trump America? There's an article that talks about that Trump started all the racial issues here. No, this country has been racist before Trump. Where is that article from Pew University? We're only going to go into a little bit of this, and then we'll go ahead and call it quits. But it says Race in America in 2019. Now, this happened, this article was written, I think, in April 9th, 2019. But I want to go over what they're trying to blame just one white man. See, what the white supremacists like to do, they like to just blame one white person who they can sacrifice and say, well, that person, he started all of this aggression. He is the one. Racism has become so bad since he got in office. No. If you look at Jim Crow Joe Biden, he represents the same thing that Trump represents. Okay? All of these people represent the same thing. But I will give credit to Pew Research University, or Pew Research Center. It says here that public has negative views of the country's racial progress. More than half says Trump has made race relationships worse. And it's not that Trump made race relationships worse. It's them ignoring giving us our reparations, which is what made racism worse. Them undermining us, okay, and not giving us our incentives for 465 years of slavery. But this is what the article says. It says that more than 150 years after the 13th Amendment abolished slavery in the United States, most U.S. adults says legacy of slavery continues to have an impact on the position of Black people in American society. You see, kind of like the white media, it will tell some truth, but then they'll start moving into lies. Hold on, watch this. More than 4 in 10 say that the country hasn't made enough progress towards racial equality. And there is some skepticism, particularly among Blacks, that Black people will ever have equal rights with whites, according to the new Pew Research Center survey. Yeah, as long as you keep the white supremacists in office, you're not going to have equality. Opinions about the current state of race relationships and President Donald Trump's handling of the issue are also negative. About 6 in 10 Americans, 58%, says race relationships in the U.S. are bad. And of those, few see them improving. Some 56% think the president had made the race relationship worse. Now, keep in mind, they're talking about Donald Trump. Now, if you go on and look at now who's in office, Jim Crow Joe Biden. Has Jim Crow Joe Biden made relationships good or bad? Okay, people are looking at Donald Trump and Jim Crow Joe Biden almost the same way. It is only a few Black people, your LGBT people, They basically support this man, of course, because they get all kinds of benefits from him. Okay. And so, therefore, of course, as under the conservative, all we have to do is deal with the white supremacists. But when a Democrat is in office, we have to deal with the LGBT community. We have to deal with Asians and Koreans. We have to deal with everybody when the white supremacists are in office, and when the Democrats are in office. Excuse me. So when the Democrats is in office, race relationships are often more bad. But do not confuse that into thinking that sound like what a conservative politician will say. Because as I told y'all, the conservative like to use our talking points so they can say, well, more black people are becoming conservative. No, we're not becoming conservative. What we're seeing is that we're looking at white supremacy on the left, and we're looking at white supremacy on the right. Okay? And in both instances, both of them do black people dirty. Both of them are racist towards black folks. And so therefore, black people try to play dumb, as Dr. Cress Welsing says, the late, great, our mother, ancestor, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. One of the things she said was black people like to play dumb so that white people can play dumb along with us. See, this is what we've been talking about, you see. And so therefore, they're going to continue to play dumb. When anybody tell you that this is about class, and they tell you that, you have white people talking about, well, see, it's the one percenters. It's the 1%ers. It's not us in the 99%. No, I don't deal with the racism from the 1%. I deal with the racism from the white folks and the white supremacists in that 99%. You all are the ones who I have to deal with. When I filed a lawsuit against U.S. Security and Associates, I was dealing with those white people who were in the 99%. I wasn't dealing with the Rothschilds and all these other big name people. No. Or your private organizations who hang out with the Bilderberg and all of your big private organizations. No, I was dealing with the 99%. I was dealing with the white supremacists who can hire you and fire you as they wish. And that's the reason why we need our reparations. Because black people after Reconstruction was doing business. They were engaging in real kind of business. And we did not have to go to white people for jobs. We didn't have to go to white people for any kind of money. They had to come to us, and they were upset along with this white supremacist government, and they got mad and they start firing bombing places like Greenwood and Tulsa, Oklahoma. They start chasing us out of places like Wilmington, North Carolina. See, what we were looking at is black people actually doing business with white people prior to Reconstruction. And it is not, and it's Jim Crow Joe Biden and his vice president who said that after they win this election that they were going to meet with Ice Cube, because Ice Cube had a list that everybody was participating in. And we basically got him to ameliorate his plan for Black America. No, let's not include no minorities, no people of color, like Tone Toss told him. Let's not include no other races, no Jews, or none of that. No, this is specifically for Black people. And once we get on that particular situation and talk about Black people, then we move forward on. Never let nobody talk about, oh, you Black folks, all you want is handouts. Never, ever allow them to say that, because this system have always helped white people. What do you mean we have always been asking for handouts when white people have been benefiting ever since slavery? They have been given free land. And even when the Europeans and other countries abandoned their own countries, they'll come over here and they would get land, they would get property ownership like that. But during slavery, Europeans got free land that they were not entitled to, that they didn't have to purchase like those black slaves had to purchase, and they lost their land because they tried to get loans from the bank. You see, I'm sort of reminded of when Frederick Douglass was brought in to head the Freedmen's Bureau, you know. And so when we talk there about the Freedmen Bank, where white people basically were managing all the money, they were robbing us, the black folks, for their money. We never ever was able to get monies and stuff like that so that black people could build back up their economic system. Never. And so therefore they're playing a game with us. Okay. That, oh, you niggers, why you niggers, y'all don't need money and resources and benefits from us and the government. What you niggers need is a hug. Oh, well, you niggers need a hug. Isn't that what what's his name? That dude that comes on all the time on MSNBC, Cape Hart, isn't that what he told the white supremacists? Black people don't need reparations. Well, they need a hug. They need symbolic gestures. You see, that's a fool. Understand? And like they said, he's part of the LGBT community, so we understand why he wants a hug from the white supremacists. But the rest of us are saying, those who are foundational Black Americans, are Native Blacks, we do not want a hug. We want real, tangible benefits. Okay? So when we start to confront white people very quickly, when we confront the white supremacists very boldly, when racism first happened, then rest assured we will get a lot of things done. See, as black people, like I said, in this subject matter, we wait a long time to confront the white supremacists. And we should not do that. We should not wait a long time to confront them, whether it be on the jobs, whether it be in government, whether it be in your local politics, whether it be in, like I said, in business. Anytime that these people project racism, and this is not just limited to white folks, because it's not just white people discriminating against you. You have Asians discriminating against you. You got Hispanics discriminating against you. You got the LGBT community is against you. Everybody is against black folks. And they're trying to undermine us so that you Negroes, so y'all can stay in a segmented labor market where y'all continues to be what we brought y'all over here to be in the first place. And that is worker, to provide your labor to us. You understand? Somebody talk black to me tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and close out this video essay, but I wanted to come on. And of course, we're going to continue to have the phone systems back up, but I need to start doing video essays because the white supremacists, they've been calling, they've been having these, they are bought and paid for bullocks talking about, oh, your sound is not working. And you've been talking to yourself. Your sound ain't working. Gee, y'all better start talking about that sound now. And they've been interrupting our video essay. So we're asking you to put any commentary on the chat there, the top chat, like, share, and subscribe. We have our Cash App going on there. And also visit cinemacitypictures.com. LawyerHenderson.net. It's going to be up soon. It's going to be where you can purchase the book right straight to my website. We're going to have t-shirts like this, as you see behind me, the University of Black Power. We also have the new novel, Davion and Michaela, is coming. It's already out on ebook. And I've been tired. This is the reason why I've been not coming on, because we did a casting call for it. And that was really, I was like tired. It was raining that weekend. And my co-producer, he was up here too. And we, it was just a lot of stuff going on. So we've not been focusing on the YouTube stuff. But ScrewTube basically told me last Thursday or Friday, I think I came on one of those days, ScrewTube sent me an email saying that if you talk about the vaccine again, Negro, we're going to shut off your channel. They were like, because I have basically talked to you about the man who, about these two scientists, Robert Galo and Luke Montagnier. Remember, they both was arguing about the AIDS virus back in the days. Now, Luke Montagnier, he's not being credited with the COVID-19, which undermines him and his HIV research that him and Robert Galo put together. Dr. Fauci, who was sitting on that board, he basically actually succeeded Frank Lutangen, Luke Montagnier and all these other scientists now, because now everybody is looking at the vaccines and stuff. But man, they said, man, you talk about that, your channel is going to be interrupted, which means that you will not have a platform on YouTube no more. Man, I'm telling you, when you start just asking questions about the white supremacists and their vaccines and stuff, man, you get all kinds of system interruptions. They start sending you community violation, which is not a community violation. They actually are violating your rights, your First Amendment rights. Okay, I think it's the First or Second Amendment, one of them. I think it's the Second Amendment. But anyway, they're violating your freedom of the press. They're violating your right to, a freedom of speech. And what they're doing now, because you're talking about the COVID-19, they're not supposed to do this. But the science community got the government in law in a nutshell, because they're right close, tight-knit together. So they got all of these lawsuits, and YouTube has also been sued by them. YouTube got a multi-billion-dollar lawsuit against them right now. And the woman who runs YouTube, she is still on this. Oh, you're violating community guidelines. So I want you all to make sure that y'all reach out to her and say, hey, you're violating our freedom of speech rights. You're violating the freedom of the press. You reach out to her and you let her know that you will not bring down Lawyer Henderson TV, that you will not bring us down. You understand? And so the white supremacists, they're desperate right now, and they're running everything. Anytime that a government tells its people that they cannot talk about or try to challenge something that you're giving us, and then say that you cannot talk about it, you can't sue over it, that's a lawsuit within itself. How are you going to tell me I cannot basically challenge something that you're telling me that I should take? No. You see, they did that the same thing with the HIV/AIDS virus stuff, But people are on code. Black people have never been on code, man, like they are right now. Black folks are on so much code, and so the white supremacists, they're upset because now society is changing. As I told you in other videos, they no longer, by in 10 years, are going to be holding on to all of the economic power and wealth. They're losing this real quick. Their numbers are dwindling, as Tariq Nasheed pointed out. There a lot of them are up in age. They're not having children. This is a threat. And they're women. They're sleeping. They're women and sleeping with black men and other men. You understand? So now the white supremacists are getting upset. So they're trying to figure out if they're going to bring more white folks over to America, or will more white people from America go to Europe, or whatever the case may be. But they are really, really in a dangerous and a very precarious situation. And ladies and gentlemen, as Amos Wilson, my great leader, teacher, our great answer has taught us, when there's crisis, there's opportunity. You've been listening to the Lawyer Henderson podcast show, and keep it black, keep it real, and therefore we have to come together as always. Thanks for listening, and thanks for watching.